I'm going to start off, well actually I've already done this, but I moisturize with my Cetaphil Oil Control Moisturizer. And then I have to wear SPF, so I top that off with Neutrogena. This is SPF 70. So gotta have that stuff. You're gonna need a few things for these next couple steps. You're gonna need the palette itself or whatever foundation that you're using, a powder brush. This is a Chanel number 16 brush, and some type of spray that's gonna be used to loosen up the product. I'm gonna be using Fix Plus. If you have that Evian spray or rose water or Mist and Fix or whatever you have to help products adhere to the face, loosen up products, great for that. So taking my, now that I've already moisturized, I'm going to take my powder brush, and if you go to the top row of the foundation palette, concealer palette, excuse me, I'm going to be using that color. It's brand new, so I have to take my finger and kind of warm up the palette a little bit with my finger. Now that should do the trick. Basically, I'm just laying that foundation down. Forehead, nose area. I'm not really doing any of the blending yet. I'm just laying down the color, and we will do the blending in a minute. Painted! Now eyes painted! So I'm gonna go back to the palette, and the color directly beneath that, it's really not that much darker, but we're going to pretend that it is and use that as a contour. So I'm going to take my finger and along my hollows of my cheekbones, I'm adding a little bit of that color there, and then along my jawline, and a little bit along the temples. Not a lot though. Forgot to mention this one earlier, but you're also going to need a beauty blender sponge. I'm going to be wetting that. Always use this wet, I never use this dry. Gonna spray that up and start blending that foundation out. Making sure I really work it into the hairline, the neck, and the jawline. Spray some more. Add more concealer wherever you need. If you need a little bit more coverage. I always find myself retouching the chin, so that's what I'm doing. And also, if you get the blender too damp when you're spraying it, you can just kind of wipe off a little bit of that on the hand, and then you've got more product to work with. A little bit on the eyelids. So far, I'm finding that the coverage is okay. It's so-so. It's about a medium coverage, and I'm a full coverage kind of gal. So let's keep investigating this one. Next, I'm going to use a brow pencil to fill my brows in. I'm using my favorite MAC brow crayon in Spiked, as usual. I'm gonna brush through those brows and make them more natural. Brush out any harsh lines I may have created. I'm going back in and adding a little bit more just to kind of hopefully get a fuller coverage out of it. I'm going to add a little bit of that concealer on my lids. Now with one of the lighter shades on the palette, this one to be exact, I'm going to use that underneath my brow bone to sharpen up those brows. I'm going to take that same concealer once again down the center of my nose. And I'm also going to use it to highlight the forehead. Watch me and I'll show you how. And we're not really using a lot, okay? So one line all the way from the center to the nose, the tip of the nose I should say, all the way up into the forehead. Stopping it about right there. And then along the top of the brow on each side. And then all of that you want to blend out with your beauty blender, of course. Of course, darling. For an eyeshadow base, I'm going to use MAC's Groundwork Paint Pot and dab just a bit of that onto the eyes. Next, I'm going to use a pigment. This is MAC's Naked Pigment in Naked Deep Dark. They have a series of them. There's Naked, there's I think Medium Naked, and then they have Deep Dark. So, or Dark or something like that. This one is Deep Dark, the darkest shade out of the Naked series. Apply this color generously to the lid. Next, I'm taking my Sleek Makeup palette. I'm going to be using any one of those two dark blue navy colors. You are welcome to use whatever color that you have that may be close to that. I'm going to take an angled liner brush and start to trace my crease with that shadow. And then when I get to the outer V, I'm going to feather that out. This is a Delium Tools number 781 brush. It's most comparable to MAC's 226 brush. Basically, it's just kind of like a fluffy brush, but it's tapered at the ends. And adding a little bit of that shadow, I'm going to start to blend that into my crease. And then with a little bit of that Naked pigment on a blending brush, I'm going to blend out around that blue. So that we get a softer wash of color. For the brow bone highlight, I'm going to use something that is matte and has a little bit of shimmer in it. This is Bisque Eyeshadow by MAC. From here on out, this look is pretty much going to be all about the liner. I'm going to take MAC's Fluid Line in Black Track and start lining a really thick line, starting from the outer corners of my eyes. Add your mascara of choice. I'm going to be using a Lancome mascara. This is Hypnose Doll Lashes. I love this mascara. And I'm not going to be putting on tons of it since we're going to be adding lashes. This is just for the sake of painting them black. On the waterline of my eyelid, I'm going to use a MAC chromographic pencil. The color is NC15. You can use any peach colored or even just a flesh white pencil for this step. I just choose peach because for darker skin tones it's a little bit more gentle looking and not as, it doesn't contrast as much. It looks a little bit more natural. For my under eye concealer, I'm going back to my concealer palette. The shade here is going under the eye. And then I'm going to set that with some MAC Invisible Setting Powder. An easy trick for this step is to take a blending brush and very little product and then just sweep along under the eyes. And that's going to help prevent creasing. I'm also setting some of that with a makeup sponge and a little bit of that setting powder. Next, add mascara to the bottom lashes. Next, I'm going to be having some fun with not one but two pairs of lashes. I'm going to be using a pair of Red Cherry number 105 for the bottom lash line. Using tweezers for this step is going to be super helpful, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. The second pair of lashes I'm going to be using are a Red Cherry number 47 lashes for my upper lash line. So there's our lashes. Add a little bit of mascara. Add a little bit of mascara to thicken those things out and spike them up a little bit. And then using a little bit of that white liner, I just extended out that white line a little bit, just like that. As well as on the inner corners. I'm really going to kind of point the tip inward. So that you get kind of like that inner tear duct effect. I'm going to add just a dab of concealer to my lips to even out the color. Add a peach blush. This is Terracotta Blush by La Femme. And then of course my favorite, I Am Glam by Mario Dedivanovic. I'm going to line my lips with Cork Lip Liner by MAC, or you would use anything that is neutral to your own complexion. And if you're darker like me, you can use any soft brown lip liner. I'm going to use Honey Love Lipstick by MAC. And I'm going to top that off with an OCC lip tar. This is Cha Cha. Really, really beautiful peach apricot color. And all you need is a tiny bit because they're super pigmented. And these don't really have a glossy finish, And then I just get the clear gloss on top if I actually want shine. In this case I do. And there we go. There is our final look.